Hey maggots, and welcome to our holiday cooking series. Now, hopefully you're gonna find this both informative and entertaining, kind of like our show, except for the part when Dawn talks. We call that filler. So here's the idea. Whether you've been doing this forever or you've never done it, entertaining and cooking for groups of people is intimidating to everyone and nerve-wracking. Even people like me that have been doing it for 25 years. It's exhilarating, but you're still anxious and nervous. You want to get everything right. If you're a novice, if you're nervous, if you've never hosted before, I promise you, if you follow my recipes and instructions, everything's going to be fine. Now, if you're a little more advanced, make it fun. That's what cooking is all about. Take my recipes and go, I think this would make Rob's recipe a little better. I want to try this. All of my recipes came from someone else's ideas and then I added to them. That's the fun of cooking. Also, keep in mind, if you see me cooking for, say, servings of 2 or 4, and you're like, wait a minute, I have to serve 12 people, just triple everything. Also, if you get overwhelmed by the measurements, Google is fantastic at helping you with the conversions. Another trick, if you're using an oven and you only have one oven, remember, if you put more than one thing in that oven, everything cooks slower. And finally, remember the most important thing about having fun when you're cooking: alcohol. Let's cook. Hey maggots, it's time to go over how to brine your turkey. Now, a couple of notes before we get started. First of all, if you're watching this Thanksgiving morning, you are screwed. And you should probably just find a local grocery store that's open and order a Cornish game hen, because I'm sure they're out of turkeys. Also, if you don't have a thawed turkey, you're also screwed if you're less than 48 hours away from Thanksgiving. At least that's what you think. But there are some tips. Depending on where your turkey is in the stage, and usually what you want to do is you want to get the turkey out of the freezer if it's previously frozen. Usually I do it like the Saturday before Thanksgiving or the Friday before Thanksgiving, depending on when I'm going to brine. It takes a good 3 to 4 days, depending on the size of the turkey, to thaw. It's also not as dangerous as everybody thinks it is to leave the turkey out, say, overnight on the kitchen counter to get the thawing process done. But if you're in a bind, one thing you can do is you can take your turkey while it's still wrapped, not while it's raw and out there with all the flesh, but while it's still wrapped, you can put it in a lukewarm bathtub or bucket, turning it every hour or so, and you can push on it and feel what stage of thawness or frozenness, I guess, it's still in. You don't want to go hotter than lukewarm. That's where you create the bacteria and other stuff. It's just too dangerous, which brings us to another part of the step. As you see, I have my nice fresh turkey here. You'll also notice I'm using a special cutting board as my work surface area. This is a washable glass cutting board that never comes in contact with anything other than raw meat. Because while I'm not a big freak like the USDA is, I do understand that there can be diseases and germs in raw turkey. You want to be a little bit careful. I don't go around wiping everything down every time I touch it. But you want to be smart about this. So I try to set up a nice working environment. So the first thing you got to do, obviously this turkey's out of its packaging. First things we got to do is we got to get the giblets and the goo and the heart and whatever they've got stuffed inside of the cavity out of here. So you can pop off the feet. We're just going to put those back in. Feet, drumsticks, whatever they are. And we're going to dig into the cavity. Don't be afraid. We're going to pull out. Ooh, gross. And by the way, you'll notice we even got a little bit of ice bit still in there. That's okay. That's nothing to be worried about. Now, what do you do with this? No, you don't throw it away. No, you don't give it to the dog. No, you don't hide it in your sister's sock to scare her. You save it. We're gonna use this to make the most amazing gravy ever for Turkey Day. So you gotta save that. You gotta keep reaching in there, see if there's anything else. There's nothing else in there. Then you flip your bird over and see if they gave you the secret pouch. Hello, gizzards and heart. And yes, you do want these as well. I know turkey hearts and turkey gizzards sound gross. They add a wonderful, deep flavor to your gravy. So cut them out of this wax paper, dump them into the same pot with your big old penis intestine looking thing. By the way, quick note, my dad actually eats these. Like, he'll roll them in flour and fry them. It's disgusting. I think it's because he grew up poor during World War II or something like that while his dad was saving the world. I don't know, blah, blah, blah. Your grandfather's a hero, blah, 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 whatever. So save this. When you watch the recipe, or when you watch the cooking video for the gravy recipe, we'll come back to this pot and I'll show you how to make amazing turkey gravy. Now, remember I told you about sanitation. Because I'm touching all this stuff, in this case, I carry a rag with me that's gonna go right in the washing machine when I'm done, and I just wipe off my hands whenever I touch all this stuff. And a quick tip from experience, when you're handling a turkey, raw meat, juices and all that, try your best not to get any on your Rolex. All right, back to our raw turkey. We're gonna flip it back over so it's breast side up. And because we're just doing the brining process here, we're gonna put it back into its holster there. It is now ready to be brined. And this is the most important step of the day. You must have your Rob, Anybody, and Dawn Turkey Brine package. Now, the nice thing about this is it's so simple, it even comes with directions on the back. Now, the directions, you can follow them exactly as they are written, and your turkey will be brined to perfection. Now, really quickly, what is a brine? It could be two things. It can add a flavoring element, or more importantly, it adds a chemical reaction that breaks down the fibrous materials of the bird using the exact perfectly proportioned seasonings and salts that we've put into the brine, and it makes it tender and it holds in the juiciness. So you know how the biggest complaint everybody has about their Thanksgiving turkey is it's dry. The brine is the secret to keeping it from getting it dry. That doesn't mean if you overcook it by 2 hours, it's not gonna be dry, but if you come close, the brine will make it so moist that people will be begging you to make Thanksgiving dinner every year, which may or may not be a good thing depending on how much you like the people that you have Thanksgiving with. Now, if you follow the instructions on the brine package, which simply say, take your turkey, put it into a bucket with 3 gallons of water and some ice, along with, of course, the brine, and you mix it all together, which I'll show you in a second, and then you put it away in the garage or in a closet for 6 to 12 hours. I've often said on the air, you can go up to as many as 18 hours and your bird will be fine. You don't want to go past that because the skin will start to break down in the turkey, but it's really more like 6 to 18 hours. It'll be fine, it'll be great. If you want to kick it up a notch, you can do what I do. You still need your Rob, Anybody, and Dawn Turkey Brine package. And again, one of the reasons you need this is because it saves you so much time and some expense. Nobody wants to be out on the Monday or Tuesday of Thanksgiving week trying to find 5 different fresh herbs, kosher salt, all the crap that you're gonna need. This has everything you need. But if you wanna go beyond just 3 gallons of water, you can add in some things that are also gonna impart some seasoning, some flavor to your bird after it soaks in it for 18 hours. For example, instead of 3 gallons of water, what I do is, I do about 2-ish. This is just under 2 gallons of water. We're gonna do a little bit of ice, which as it melts will turn into water, obviously. But I'm also gonna add in for the final gallon, chicken broth, chicken stock. I just use the store-bought chicken stock, that's just fine. We're gonna add in some apple cider vinegar that gives some nice sweetness to the bird. And then some peppercorns and some bay leaves to soak overnight as well to just impart some more flavor into the bird. Now, how do you do this? It's so simple. What I like to do is I like to start with my liquids. So we'll get some water in here. Be careful that you don't spill it. And these buckets, obviously, you can get them at any one of the major home improvement stores, Lowe's, Home Depot, whatever. It's a 5-gallon bucket. Just make sure you clean it out before using it. You don't want to get a nail in your turkey or whatever these buckets come with. Get all your liquids in here first. Does not matter what order you put the liquids in, because we're gonna mix this all up anyways. You want to be somewhat precise about the measurements, because if you go much further in a 3-gallon bucket, in a 5-gallon bucket with then 3 gallons of liquid, when you put the turkey in, it's going to overflow and the brine's going to go everywhere. Trust me, I've done it. You learn from mistakes. Now I just said I'd be precise, and now I'm not really measuring, I know, but yeah, that's about enough. What was that, half a cup-ish? And then when you get to the peppercorns, Brandon, yeah. Come here, Brandon, come here. Yeah. Put your head in there and tell me that doesn't already smell amazingly aromatic.
Oh, smells so good.
That's not even with the brine in there yet, or any of the seasonings. About a palmful of black peppercorns, and then for a bird this big, I'm gonna reach into the bay leaf thing and 4 or 5 bay leaves, maybe 6. Now, grab your packet. Don't forget your ice. Okay. Once again, that's Rob, Anybody, and Dawn Turkey Brine. Snip, snip, snip. Don't let that happen. But if you do, it's okay. Look, yay! All the brine's stowing out, yay! Get it all in there and remove the packaging. Don't put the package into the bucket like I did. Okay. Now, what a gooey mess. What do we do now? Do you just drop the turkey in? No, we have to mix it up. So this is my my mixing paddle. And we're just gonna stir that up so it gets good and mixed up. Spreading out all those things. Brandon!
What?
Come here. Now smell this. Tell me this doesn't smell like Thanksgiving dinner already.
That smells like your amazing turkey.
Doesn't it? Mm-hmm. Thank you. That was nice of you to say, by the way. All right. So it's mixed up. Some of the ice is not going to be melted yet. That's fine. We want it to stay cool anyways. All right, grab your turkey. There's literally nothing else you have to do to the turkey. All that prep you hear us talking about with the turkey, about the rinsing, the cleaning, and the fisting of it, that all comes tomorrow morning or 12 to 18 hours from now when it comes out of the brine. All we do now is we grab our turkey. This is the breast. We're going to go in with the breast side down. The reason we do that is when we go in like that and we go into the brine's also going to fill up the cavity, which is going to get us all that liquid inside the cavity. Because remember, this is all the breast meat, and this is what most people really like. So we want to brine it from not just this side, but also this side, which is why we want the brine to go in there. Now, again, be careful. I'm going to try not to screw this up like I did where I dropped the brine packet in there. You don't want to do this too fast. If you just drop the turkey in, you're going to splash the brine everywhere. So here we go. Breast side first. Slowly lower your turkey in. It looks like it's gonna overflow. It looks like it's gonna overflow, and then it doesn't. Make sure you submerge it. Let it fart as it's getting all of that brine inside the cavity. And leave it. Now your turkey may buoy up a little bit. That's okay. It should be filled with enough brine that it's gonna remain completely submerged like mine is right now. The last step of the brining is simple. You want to cover this. If you have the lid that came with the bucket, that's ideal. My problem is I use these buckets all the time and I lose the lid, so I'm just going to wind up covering this with aluminum foil. And then you just want to store it somewhere cool. Usually around Thanksgiving time of the year, the garage is fine. Even the pantry is fine. Unless it's one of those warm Thanksgivings where it's 80 degrees outside for the week and you don't use your air conditioner. You want to keep it, somewhere in the 60s or lower. And that's it. Just leave this thing alone. Don't touch it. Don't move it. Don't stir it. Don't play with it. Don't eat it. Don't drink it. Don't let the dogs drink it. Just put this away for 6 to 18 hours, preferably about 12 to 15 in my opinion. Then the next step will be pulling out, prepping it, and cooking the most amazing turkey you've ever had.